Antifa isn't just composed of limp-wristed upper-middle-class kids who dream of revolution but wouldn't last a day under real communism. They have supporters high up in the Ivy Towers. There's Eric Clanton, the former Diablo Valley college professor who busted a bike lock on a Trump supporter's head. There's George Cicarello-Marr, the Drexel University professor who said all he wanted for Christmas was a white genocide and who blamed the Las Vegas and Texas massacres on white Trumpism. But Dartmouth college professor Mark Bray is perhaps Antifa's most insidious proponent in academia. Bray is a human rights, terrorism, and political radicalism historian who's currently on a nationwide tour in support of his new book, Antifa, the Antifascist Handbook. He's going to donate half of the money he gets from the book to a fund that will pay for Antifa's medical, legal, and personal expenses. Let's see what the prestigious scholar thinks about the movement when NBC host Chuck Todd called him out for defending the group.
You seem to be a very small minority here who is defending the idea of violence, considering that somebody died in Charlottesville.
If you get fascists to be powerful enough in government, they're simply not going to listen to the kind of public opinion that nonviolence can generate. That's the argument for resistance to Nazis.
Obviously, no one reasonable condones Nazism, but who's a Nazi? With psychology professor Dr. Jordan B. Peterson and Jewish author Ben Shapiro getting branded as Nazis and Antifa protesting them, you'd think Bray would want to define his terms, as well as give the anti-fascists even a little bit of scrutiny, particularly when the Department of Homeland Security labeled their activities domestic terrorist violence. But the professor is very slippery. Watch this little maneuver.
Some of the criticism of the Antifa movement, Mark, is that you're actually against speech. That you want to shut down this speech, and that borders on censorship.
Well, let's be clear that Antifa are not calling on the government to censor anyone.
No one's saying they are. They're performing the censorship themselves. Bray probably knows that answering that question head-on would require admitting Antifa perpetrates violence, thereby distancing would-be sympathizers of the movement. And remember, the professor has tried to normalize a radical movement with sympathetic coverage before. In 2013, he authored Translating Anarchy, the anarchism of Occupy Wall Street. But Bray's even too extreme for the far-left Southern Poverty Law Center.
It's likely to drive the people who are trying to censor underground, where they may resort to illegal means to express themselves, like bombs. And lastly,
Cohen makes a solid point. People who can't use words will use weapons. But Bray's logic is flawed at another level. The Dartmouth professor says, to me, physically stopping a neo-Nazi group before they come to you is self-defense, because neo-Nazism is a threat to humanity. Now, I know you graduated with a PhD in Women's and Gender History, Mark, but you may want to take a few more English courses if you think self-defense means attacking someone before they attack you. The professor also shared this tweet by fellow obnoxious hipster Dan Arrell, saying, "Those who continue to claim you can beat Nazis and fascists in the marketplace of ideas have chosen the side of fascism. This demonizing of difference, coupled with the you're either with us or against us mentality, is rather fascist itself. It also requires a tremendous amount of doublethink to say that people who believe in free speech have aligned themselves with fascism." Dartmouth president Philip Hanlon said, "We condemn anything but civil discourse in the exchange of opinions and ideas. The endorsement of violence in any form is contrary to Dartmouth values." But more than 100 of Bray's colleagues want Hanlon to retract the statement, saying Bray didn't call for violent protest, but right after acknowledging he called for self-defense against violent fascists. Except Bray never said the so-called fascists had to strike first. It's really reassuring to know that over 100 Ivy League professors have absolutely no idea what self-defense means. Bray is using the legitimacy of his Dartmouth position and his authorship to make 40 tour stops in just a few months' time, but separate his accolades from his actual ideas, and you have just another petulant, wannabe revolutionary who thinks we should repress speech we don't like with violent action. For Campus Unmasked, I'm Rob Shimshock. If you like this video and support our mission, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit our website, campusunmasked.com. If something happens on your campus and you'd like us to investigate further, please send us the details, including photo or video evidence.